Prince Andrew has finally settled the lawsuit with Virginia Giuffre after he agreed an undisclosed deal of around $10 million US. What is so strange that she had claimed that she would fight until the end, but there's one thing that changed and you're about to find out what it is. Welcome back, my battle language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the battle language guy, and it would be great if you join us by just liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that bell. Let's get down to it. In cases like this, it's easy to dismiss Andrew's decision like a direct admission of guilt. Whatever claims were made by Giuffre, deciding to settle off court is like saying that since he's guilty and has a lot to lose, it would be much better for him to exit as soon as possible. But as in many similar scenarios, there are a lot more variables that we should take into account to really understand what happened and get to a conclusion in terms of human behavior. The first one, according to royal sources, is that it was Charles that just forced Andrew into doing this. With Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations getting nearer and nearer, it would make sense to get this sorted out as soon as possible. It's no wonder that such a public legal process will be extremely damaging for the image of the royal family and will seriously tarnish these well-deserved celebrations for the Queen. So, case closed, right? You throw money at Giuffre and call it a day. I'm sure they would love to think that this is just another problem that can be solved with a suitcase full of money. And to be fair, a lot of problems in life can be solved with a bag of cash. Like, how do you pretend to pay for all those little teddy bears? But I've been saying with concerning frequency that you should always follow the money because it will usually lead you to the answers you're looking for. But in this case, you should first define where the money is coming from. Because I'm sure British taxpayers want to be sure this settlement is not coming out of their pocket. And the good news is that Andrew is still trying to finalize selling a property to have enough cash. So the settlement is for now in principle or an agreement because he doesn't have the money in hand. Well, either way, he had to do this because carrying a lawsuit in the United States will also have cost him an arm and a leg. The settlement, in fact, is for way less the projected cost of legal fees he would have to cover. So he has the money and wants to pay. How can it get more complicated? Well, there's one problem with both Giuffre and Andrew at the same time. She was absolutely adamant about getting this into a public trial and exposing him no matter what. She had made that statement more than a couple times, so we guess that both she and her lawyers meant business. And such a visible and public legal fight will be a great example for other victims of similar abuse. It's not the first time this happens inside a court, but it always helps to bring awareness to the fact that if you were harmed in this way, you can always seek justice. But there is an even bigger problem with Giuffre's case, and it's that she has made a series of accusations of other personalities, including Paris Hilton's dad and Jacques Cousteau's granddaughter. At some point, she made claims about these people being involved in the same scandal, in the same ring that included the activities with Prince Andrew, only to not mention them ever again, or flat out retract from her original accusations. This is the exact opposite effect for the community of people who have been abused like this. I am not saying that Giuffre is telling the truth or is lying, but it's a fact that this kind of inconsistencies just steals credibility from her case, and by extension, by any woman that wants to come forward in similar cases. Not only there is a loss of credibility for so many issues in her declarations, but there's the fact that she did accept to settle off court in the first place. And the same way that Andrew's decision of paying $10 million to just finish this as soon as possible makes him look guilty, Giuffre accepting that settlement in many ways can be perceived as a cash grab. I'm sorry, but I don't make the rules. I just point out how human perception works. And it's not just how you look at people's actions, but the guess you make about their intentions. Whether you like it or not, every one of our actions is being always measured against our possible intentions. And if something feels fishy, it will just trigger alarms in everyone. This is another skill that we acquired from survival when we used to move in small groups of families or tribes. We had to guess if someone was being truthful or if their intentions were for the good of the whole community. And we had to do it fast with our intuition. And no, our intuition is not 100% accurate all the time, but it is usually right. So you don't have to feel guilty if you perceive Giuffre accepting that settlement like a cash grab. And it doesn't matter that the money is going to be directed straight to her charity, because you know how savvy accountants can be. And the very fact that it's going to her charity sounds a lot like a conflict of interest. If she wanted the money to go to charity, to victims of this abuse, why didn't she choose one that she would have nothing to do with? No interaction. This is important, again, for the sake of credibility, of reputation. Because I have to make the question again. If she had claimed time and time again that she was adamant of taking this to court, then what's changed? I don't think she has the slightest regard for the Platinum Jubilee or any inconvenience she could cause for the royal family, so that couldn't have been the reason she made this decision. And again, the very act that she accepted that settlement makes it look suspicious for her case. If she had a solid case, if she had proof of... Oh, right. It so happens that she lost the original photo with Andrew. Well, that is... I don't know how to call it. So a lot of people want to believe her, and there's no doubt that since Andrew has really bad judgment regarding who he hangs out with, and to which private island he gets invited, and whose apartments he uses, well, this looked like everything was on Giuffre's side. It all boils down to the moment that she claimed that she was willing to go all the way. Let's not think about her credibility for a moment. Let's realize that the instant she made this statement, the royal family knew that whatever the outcome, no matter if Andrew managed to prove his innocence on a public trial, the royal family's image would take a direct hit. So I'm sure Giuffre's lawyers were willing to take that bet just to see what happened. And I'm sure Andrew's attorneys were sharpening their knives already. But the Queen, Charles, and even William decided to act first, and that's why they made the decision to strip Andrew of everything so they would effectively cut formal ties with him. As you can see, this is a very delicate situation in which the act itself, in which both parties agree to a settlement, damages both in terms of their public perception. But the more present result is that perception of what should be a right of every victim of this kind of abuse to come forward and claim justice by any means possible can be discouraged by the way Giuffre decided to drop out of the legal battle, especially with such conditions agreed. It's obvious that we are not the ones to judge other people's actions, but in this case it serves us to assess how a decision affects the public's perception of anyone's case, whether you like it or not. And it's something to keep in mind in case you're in a similar situation. If you want to refine your observation skills, all you have to do is download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas, and it will always be a pleasure, my body language buddies. Much love and bliss.